This is Ian Morris with Light Reading for OrbTV. I'm joined today by Nan Chen. Nan, thanks for joining me. Nan, you work for CENX, you're the co-founder of CENX and also the president of the MEF at the moment. And obviously those organisations are addressing some really big challenges in the networking space. Virtualization is a hot topic, has been for a long time. I wonder if you could sort of tell us what the main issues that are at the moment in virtualization, what the sort of remaining hurdles are for operators looking to virtualize their networks.
Yeah, virtualization is one of, generation kind of change for service providers.
Yeah.
One of the key thing for them to be able to cut the cost and deliver the agile services has to be virtualized simply because they give the capability of being able to deliver service faster and to be able to manage the services a lot easier, more efficiently. And one of the huge challenges for the virtualization is really kind of standardization of the VNFs. Not just the fact that the functionalities, but also how do you install, how do you make them work together, how do you do it on a global scale whereby you can actually do that very quickly. Otherwise, it would back into the one function per box basis. So in order to do that, I think the standardization is becoming really important. I think one of the things the MEF is trying to address is that, and to allow the service providers to be able to deliver these functions on an on-demand basis. And clearly there's also some commercial issues associated with that, as far as licensing models and so on and so forth. But the challenge is between the technical as well as the commercial side. I think we're addressing both of them and move things forward.
Is it mainly a commercial issue at the moment that we've made a lot more progress technically? But
we did make a lot
concern?
of progress technically. However, I don't think it's enough yet.
Yeah.
I think we should continue to drive that. I think industry as a whole recognize the importance of work together instead of just one at a time. And so MEF provide that platform to really helping to drive that forward.
One of the words we hear coming up a lot more at industry conferences and operators talking about generally is automation and the importance of having zero-touch networks.
Yeah.
What's happening in that area? How are you involved in that? And are there things that the telco sector can learn from other industries as well when it comes to automation?
Yeah, automation is a goal. I think one of the key things, if you think about the vision, would be the autonomous networking, right? Mm-hmm. So, and from where we are to that is a long way to go. I think we are in the process understanding how we actually get it done. And from MEF perspective, we have started building those building blocks. For example, the lifecycle service orchestration and with the capabilities, the APIs, is one of the examples of how do you actually be able to enable service providers to be able not only automate within the service provider themselves, but also east and westbound interfaces. How do you actually getting across the entire service providers' networks and end-to-end across a geographic dispersed regions to connect the service end-to-end. That's actually really, really important, and then that's what we're trying to do.
And then this brings us on to a lot of the work, as you say, the MEF is doing specifically, and you have your release 3.0. So what does that bring in terms of capabilities? What's that specifically aimed at doing?
Yeah. The MEF 3.0 is transformative global service framework for defining, delivering, and certifying agile, assured, orchestrated services across a global ecosystem of automated networks. That actually is a goal for autonomous networking. And the reason we want to do that is really, for the first time, we want to give user, as well as application, control, directly control capabilities over the network resources across the entire ecosystem that's in the global nature, global basis. And what that does is, for application or users, can direct those resources at their fingertips, end to end. through multiple service provider network transparently and seamlessly.
Okay.
And that's such a big deal, for us to enable new services for the service providers to provide that kind of services, and especially when you talk about virtual reality and the video on demand and then real-time communications.
Yeah.
And those require on-demand services, not only just connectivity, but performance and as well as agility to be able to deliver that and orchestrate across ecosystem of multiple networks across multiple providers. So that's a big deal, and we're working on that. There are basically 4 components we have in this MEF 3.0 to enable that. The first is that we define orchestrated services. Obviously it's standardized, but including the Ethernet services, which MEF is known for, but also IP services we're doing, wavelength services we're doing too, and then we're also looking at the security as service. Those, some of them are we already have done, and some of them are roadmap items we're working on. And in addition to that, that's the old services. In addition to that, we're starting doing the open LSO APIs. Like I mentioned earlier, the APIs, not only the northbound and southbound, but also east and westbound, which is connecting different services providers together. It's really, really important to us to actually be able to do that standardized across multiple carriers. And third thing we're doing what we call cloud-based certification programs. Our certification program has been really a success story throughout the industry for Ethernet services. Now we actually move into the cloud, so people can actually, on the subscription basis, to be able to certify not just the testing circuit, but any service they can deliver to any customers. We actually can certify it on demand. And it gave the service provider peace of mind where whatever they deploy, they can actually certify it on demand. So it really enabled them to be able to deliver services on a standard basis across multiple carriers, and knowing that services can be actually delivered according to MEF spec. So that's a third component. The last one, not least, is that we do really open up to do a community collaboration. That including all the members we have. We built what we call it MEF Net, which is really the, if you would, it's a cloud-based platform for people to work on the 3.0 services, either define the implementation reference implementations, or they could be creating new services and really model after whatever the specification they want. So the goal there is really helping, not only we're going to have a standard specs, but also have somewhat a reference implementation to accelerate the implementation or development of MEF 3.0. Okay. So those 4 areas are really helping us to make MEF 3.0 complete, enable new services faster and on demand.
Okay, and why, maybe just to finish off, why is automation so important all of a sudden now? Is it the growing complexity that we're seeing with networks? Are the main benefits that operators want to see cost savings, or other things that you expect automation to bring about in terms of things like agility and speed to market? Yeah,
I think the number one thing for service providers is really to be able to deliver service faster. Yeah. And traditionally, what really happened is that they don't really have ability to be able to do automation as efficient as what we're capable of enabling. Because what happened is the networks management systems and with the hardware, they're vertically integrated. So anytime you change any layer through the stack, you have to change pretty much every layer. Okay. So any new services delivers is really hard. Now with the virtualization and software-defined networking, what that happened is it really enable the agility for us to do it. You can literally do work as a way as you always do, even though you're making a software based on the virtualization, but if you don't enable the automation, then you actually kind of miss the point of virtualization and software age. So the technology enabler gave that ability to service provider to enable that agility, the automation, whereby you literally could potentially have very few people to run the network and to be able to provide the services, because most of the services will be on demand, or will be actually user-driven or application-driven, so really no people involved. In addition, as far as the operation perspective, if the autonomous networking is the goal, and then we'll get there, then will be very few people would get involved. So the future is great, and
the future is self-driving networks.
Amazing. I think I don't think a time in the history of telecom there are few opportunities like this that we're experiencing today. I think service providers are really on the verge to break through, really need to shed all the baggages and always come with the problems, deliver the new services faster and in the most cost-effective way. In fact, if you think of it, internet is kind of changing every single industry. Now, one of the biggest change is actually happening at internet service providers. They're the gatekeeper of the internet, or they're the backbone of the internet. Yep. So it's huge thing that's happened. It's going to impact the service providers in a big way. So the future is very bright.
Lots of upheaval, but interesting period to live through, I think. So,
very, very exciting.
Okay. All right, thanks Nan Chen for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you, Ian.
Ian Morris with Light Reading for OrbTV.